Welcome, Dan Aberbaum.
And as many of you know, I'm coming here from the South, in Brooklyn, which is I recently took one step towards adulthood, and many of the people here in the room know this. To cut it short, I bought a daily planner book. It's not a bestseller, but I think it's an easy read. I mean, 1 page a day. You just choose your own adventure in starkest form. So, what's great about a daily planner book, it's non-judgmental. It's just blank pages after blank pages. It's just saying, hey, I'm the daily planner. I'm here to help you plan your day. I'm not saying anything about your plans. I'm not saying that you even should have plans. I'm just saying, should you have a plan for a particular day, write it in the day. It'll be a plan. That's what I said. Hey, that's a daily planner. I'm looking through it. Monday, 9 a.m., Monday, 10 a.m., Tuesday, 9 a.m., blank, blank, blank. Then I notice, judgmental, no, after each blank, there's this little box where you're supposed to put a check in the box if you actually did your plan. So now it's like an issue whether I actually do what I said I was going to do. I didn't ask for anything for daily planner, scorecard included. And then there's another section. I don't say, it's just about notes. Notes in the daily planner, quite reasonable. But after that, there's memos. So my daily planner differentiates between my notes and my memos. Well, my internal dialogue is not that sophisticated. I'm not polylingual to myself. I mean, what's the difference between my notes and my memos? I figure notes maybe are like personal communiques, the letters of John Keats or something. I've been feeling lately that I should drop off the dry cleaning. So I guess memos are like in case the daily planner is subpoenaed as evidence in a court of law. Your Honor, preponderance of evidence suggests that the defendant, Mr. Dan Yaverbaum, did in fact intend to return the dry cleaning on Thursday, as the memo section of his daily planner substantiates. I knew I should have written in the notes.
Let's just look at the facts. First of all, at any given moment, whoever has the advantage in the political argument right now thinks that it's a game of football. And whoever doesn't have the advantage thinks it's a game of tennis. What do I mean? Glad you asked. I mean that in football, there's a clock, right? And no one wins a game of football until the clock runs out. And the score doesn't matter until the clock runs out. And when the clock runs out, the game is over, and whatever the score is, the score is. Whereas in tennis, there's no clock. Yeah! I'll call one thing. Right, there's no clock. The game is over when a certain person has scored a certain number of points and won a certain number of sets or battles or court decisions or whatever. And so here in this situation, right, check out the Republicans. In general, the Republicans thus far have been whining December 12th, January 8th, football, football, football. And then yesterday, when a point or a set is scored for Gore, what do they say? Screw December 8th, let's appeal, let's appeal, let's appeal. Right? So tennis, football, depends who's winning. Let's assume it's tennis for the moment. Assume it's tennis. How does the game end here, seriously, in the presidential situation? Well, assume that we go through the whole court system. Are there any questions so far, by the way? Go through the court system. Assume for the sake of argument that Gore wins every appeal, just let's say. And in every appeal, the recounts occur, and let's say he wins all the recounts. Let's just say, see right, what happens. Well, as I think many of us know, that would possibly imply that we have to send a set of electors from Florida that would ultimately go to the college and vote for Gore. But at the same time, as we know, the Florida legislature could send their own slate of electors to D.C., to the college, and we could actually have two simultaneous sets of electors being sent from Florida. In other words, so it goes to the new House, which is newly slightly Republican. goes to the new Senate, the new Senate, in which Lieberman is a senator as of this moment, is exactly 50-50. So then it goes to the old vice president to break the tie, because we haven't determined the executive branch yet. So the old vice president breaks the tie in the new Senate, casts a vote for himself, and produces deadlock between the House and the Senate. That's if we've exhausted the court and gone to the Congress. What happens then? Glad you asked. Then it has to go back to the court to decide on an interpretation of the 12th Amendment, which leaves it, in some people's minds, ambiguous as to whether the electors that decide the election, the majority of electors that decide the election, means majority of the ones that we're sending or the majority of the ones that exist. A very important distinction, because the majority of the ones that exist would include Florida, and then we've got a problem, and they have to still work it out. But if it's the majority of the ones we send, we can just like punt on Florida and give it to Gore. Now that 12th Amendment that then gets decided in the court, if you're looking for closure, which we all are, that 12th Amendment was ratified in 1877. This is not a joke. 1877, I believe. I mean, this part is the joke coming up right now. Okay. 1877, as far as I know. I'm going to 1877. All right, 1877. That was the time when the 12th Amendment, the amendment that may ultimately bring us back from the courts through the Congress, back to the courts again to figure this thing out. 1877, I think, was the year that, or approximately the year, that the machines that we presently use in New York City to vote in were invented. And the machines, when you walk in, I think partly because they're machines, but partly because they're so old, they really make you feel like what you're doing when you pull the lever is official and real, right? I mean, you don't have any ambiguity in your mind. You pull that, and many of us have done this, you pull the switch, pull the lever, and you might think, I don't know if who I want to be president will be president, but you definitely think that somebody somewhere knows who you want to be president. You kind of feel like it's just getting beamed into like the Lord of Election office right away, right? Then you walk out of the machine thinking that you just voted and your vote just somehow got counted, and maybe this is great because I don't even know why that. Yeah, okay, good. You then maybe talk to a human being who asks you a bunch of questions like, "Who did you just vote for?" And that conversation goes on a little while. It's all very casual and everything, and you realize, oh, hey, no problem. I'm talking about who I did just vote for. This is an exit poll. I did vote. Now I'm just discussing my vote, right? Implication being that was the real thing, and this is the description, the approximation, right? But as we all know, when we watched the returns come in December 7th, that night, and all the confusion over Florida as it was going back and forth and back and forth, everybody started going along with that mentality and saying, oh, it's the exit polls that are the problem. These exit polls, they're not the real thing. We rush the exit polls, we rush the information from the exit polls, we get it all screwed up, and we should just be patient and not trust these descriptions, but wait for the real results to come in. All makes sense. Except that now, since no one's trusting the machines anymore, and now the whole dispute is over what really happened, and everybody's acknowledging that what happened in the machines might not be what actually happened, we have to take into account what they believe really was meant to have gone on, which was the intent of the voters, right? How do they look at what they think really went on, who really voted for Gore, despite what the machines say, what they intended? How do they know what they intended? From the exit polls. So I think the whole problem can just be solved very easily by just a shift in nomenclature. All you got to do is admit that next time you go into a voting poll, when you walk into the machine and pull the lever, you are participating in the entrance poll. And when you talk to the person outside, you're recording your vote. End of story.
I'm kvetching a lot. At promised, I'm certainly complaining. I don't want to complain. I certainly don't want to complain about this country of ours because I am an American and I believe strongly in American values, and I believe that our values have always been easily distinguished from the values of the other the country formerly known as Soviet Union. But I believe if you want to distinguish our political values from theirs, the mistake is in looking at the big words. It's not, oh, we have a bicameral legislature, and they have an autocratic governmental system, and we have elected representatives. It's not the big words, it's the small words. It's conjunctions. And has always been a communist word. You will live here, and you will work there, and you will eat borscht, and you will like it. You will not worship this god, and you will respect the leader formerly known as Prince. But or has always been Americana. America is the land of or. You can live here, or you can live there. You can vote for this person, or you can vote for that person. Or you cannot vote at all. You can eat this, or you can eat that, or you can starve. But if there is one place in a democracy where I do not want to see the word or, if there's one agency in a democracy that I do not want to provide the word or, it's the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration. This organization has no business with or. And yet, I sit down to a breakfast, cereal, Wheaties, I've got Americana on the front, I've got Bruce Cheddar scoring a record, and on the back, I have may contain one or more of the following. And anything that follows that colon is not an ingredient, it's a possibility. And I didn't sit down for a mechanical breakfast. But now, in this post-Cold War global compromise mentality we have, it gets even more insidious because it doesn't stop with or in the ingredients. Now you see things like partially hydrogenated soybean and or peanut oil. And slash or. Can it contain soybean oil? Yes, it can. Can it contain peanut oil? Yes, it can. Can it contain both? Well, yes, it can. As far as I can tell, that represents at least a 50% increase in nutritional ambiguity. And I didn't ask for and/or in my cereal. I certainly didn't ask for a slash in my cereal. After all, what's that slash mean? Is it and/or? Or is it and/or? Or is it and/or? And is it going to be caller ID block in my cereal? So I started thinking about it, and I think, this really, do you guys, is it that you don't know? Or you know, and you're just not telling. Either way, I want to go down to the factory. I want to find the and/or room with the and/or guy who wears the and/or hat, who's putting the and/or in my cereal. I want to say, how did and/or get in there? What's he going to say? Well, it's like this, right? We got these two vats, okay? One is the soybean oil, one is the peanut oil. We're supposed to have 2 spoons, but every now and then, I'm not buying it. There's like a 5-dimensional laminated polychromatic poster, nutrition facts in boldface. And you figure, you're standing online, you see that poster, if you don't have time to read it, you've got to go away assuming it's all good. But not me, I go up and I say, all right, what's up with the nutrition facts? And I'm looking, and sure enough, of course, there's sodium, 5,000% United States recommended. Fat, 65 grams per serving size. Suggested serving size, 2 fries, etc., etc. But I think, why not riboflavin? I didn't get the goose egg on that one. Right, I'm looking at it, riboflavin, star. Calcium, star. Iron, star. Thiamine, star. Goes on, star. And I look down and it's a footnote, and at the bottom, what does star mean? Contains less than 2% of the United States recommended daily allowance in this area. For that, they get a star. How did they cut that deal? What did they get for less than 1%? A Hello Kitty puppy sticker? I did the calculation. As far as I'm concerned, less than 2% means 1 and/or 0%. Not one star.